De la Rosa's dissertation. And León, as you all know, is a teacher and technical guru. And so we're looking forward to the work that the culmination of the work he's been doing for almost 4 years. So you're going to do a presentation, right, León?
Yes. Yeah.
And he said I don't have to remind him when 30 minutes is up, and then he will take your questions. And then that'll be the end of the public portion of it. So it's all yours.
Okay. So I'm gonna disappear from the screen because I'm gonna share the presentation, which is also online in case anybody wants to follow on. Sorry, I pressed the, hold on. So can everybody see the website?
I can see the website. Oh, let's see the URL. Memeseducation.
It's meme and meme, yeah. MEMEDIY.
Meme education.
Only one in .com and .org.
Or
Just can't read it on the screen here. Oh, got it. Thank you.
The way it's typed here, and then with a .org.
All set.
Okay, so for the meantime, I'm just going to be looking at the screen. So please let me know. But okay, so here we go. My dissertation title is on the language of internet memes. And for my own research was through an interest in a couple of different phenomena that I kept running into as I spent a lot of time online. It's remix both as a philosophy and as a practice. People like Lawrence Lessig talk about a read and write culture and RW culture, where people not only read culture and also rewrite it and are free to write their own through digital tools. And then people like Mark America, communities are there to share the content that they use in order to keep making creative content and creative phenomena that I found fascinating, that I still find fascinating about the internet, is what I call internet visual culture. Everything from animated GIFs to image macros here in the bottom, and the characters that they portray, and the voices that they embody in different image boards and community and online communities. These are the types of things that you'll find quite easily, along with some other visual content that have more to do with documenting specific behaviors and patterns and performative aspects. All of this content that I brand internet visual culture is branded together as internet memes. However, the internet memes that I'm talking about, that I'm focusing on, are these types that are visual in nature and don't really speak of another behavior in real life. But of course, memes precede the internet all the way to the 70s, when Dawkins first introduced the concept as a way to talk about culture in evolutionary terms. He talked about cultural genes and that got passed on from people to people, from civilization to civilization, and a culture. But of course, once memes enter the internet, then they become this visual language identified as internet slang that is used by people to succinctly communicate emotions and opinions. Along with this characterization by Stryker of internet memes, there's also the necessity of internet memes to engage communities and to become accepted by communities, but will also rewrite them and will also create their own in ways that and this is because they remix memes to make them meaningful for themselves. And so I define the language of internet that is visual, capable of engagement, remix, by users who encounter the digital content that exhibits said characteristics. Having defined the language of internet convergence, where remix practices and internet visual culture meets, I pose myself guiding question: how can the language of internet memes be interrogated as a medium that embodies arts-based experiences through collective authorship and be made relevant for research and pedagogical practices involving internet art and visual culture? And along with this guiding question came this set of three sub-questions that speak more of concrete forms of internet memes or meme types that I'll mention a couple of them in a little bit. Learning context and reading.
Oh, you're breaking
Leon,
up.
you're breaking up the audio.
Internet memes into an educational experience. Should I repeat anything?
Yes.
You're breaking up, so we can't follow you.
Can you see me now?
Yeah, we can see you, but the
Can you hear me?
your voice is breaking up.
It drops out occasionally. So just
The
go
voice gone?
right there.
Or back?
It's choppy.
You've been seeing my face, but you're seeing the website.
We're seeing the website now.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Had you seen it before, or were you just?
You're coming in and out, your voice.
Yeah. We were watching the top of your head and you began to.
Can you hear me now? Am I still breaking up? Do.
We need to be able to hear it, so what do you suggest?
Well, this seems fine now.
Yeah, back up a paragraph and hit it again.
Okay, so I'm going to the questions really quick. So remix and visual culture, right?
Yeah, without the visuals. Yes.
Yeah, there you go. That's better.
Oh, okay. Okay, so now you can see the visuals and everything. Sorry. Okay, so when I speak of internet visual culture, this is what I mean. These are animated GIFs. These are image macros. And when I was talking about remix as philosophy and practice, and these are the behavioral memes that I'm not focusing on, but they're also part of the umbrella that known as internet memes. And did you get the bit about the language of internet memes? That's how I'm defining the language of internet.
It will be okay to repeat.
Yeah? Okay, so I understand the language of internet content that is visual, succinct, and capable of engagement by users who encounter the digital content. In other words, content that allows for remixing it, to engage it by remixing it, and that is capable of communicating ideas. Does that, did that get through?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And so here are my questions. This is my main guiding question. I'm going to repeat it. How can the language of internet memes be interrogated as a medium that embodies arts-based experiences through collective authorship and be made in visual culture? And along with this guiding question came these three sub-questions that speak in more concrete terms of meme types or forms or internet memes, specific learning context, applications of integrating into an educational experience. So now for the frame that I chose to explore this question. First of all, there's a clear basis on arts-based educational research, specifically proposed by Baron and Eisner, and in that the way that they propose to scrutinize and everyday online phenomena, in my case, by returning to it over and over again. And this was a very fluid process, incorporated the making of internet memes an art form. Also wanted to work with internet memes that identify conventions that shape the language of internet memes. And for that, I looked at the work of people like Stan Brakhage, who worked to research visual perception, at the work of McLuhan. And should I go back?
Yeah, you just go back a little bit, you break it up. I don't know what changes, but all of a sudden it's like you have it's a hesitation and a gap.
It's like you're auto-tuned.
Okay. I'm not using any auto-tune, I assure you. Okay. So I'm looking at the conventions of internet memes, and for that, I went back to look at work with media, look at people like McLuhan and Fiore, who used graphic design in The Medium is the Massage to look at the way that media extended the human. I also looked very carefully and significantly at the work of MacLeod, whose book Understanding Comics is a comic book about understanding comics. And importantly, himself a narrator, but understanding himself not as himself, but as an icon that will help readers as they understand comics. So he becomes an educator of sorts. Along Fraser, whose museum highlights, she dons the icon docent to lead museum visitors in a tour that will allow them to understand the museum as an institution and not necessarily as the artwork that's hanging from the wall. And then the work of Mark Amaro proposes that the VJ, or the video jockey, a person who remixes video live for an audience, can be thought of as a creative writer who writes with images, way and communication purposes. Along and was significant way that's the media style or critical proposes that scholars should use work that shows and doesn't just tell. And so once those ideas were taken into account, I began developing this research that would be shape-shifting kind of constantly, like the story of the elephant, that depending on where you touch it, it's the type of animal you think it is. And one major shift occurred in my own work as a researcher that I'll mention when I get to my research part. And I was also very cognizant of the fact that I would not only be analyzing data, but I would also be creating this data. Of internet memes, sometimes with the conventions and at others pushing against these conventions, much like Andrea Fraser did when she worked within the confines of the museum, trying to interrogate the museum. And so in that sense, I proposed the figure of a research jockey as a non-jockey. And as a research jockey, I sample kind of freely from 5 different fields of study. From memetics, I take, of course, the idea of meme and the notion of meme, but also try to look at the notion of just how of an agent memes can be. After all, however, if we look at memes as part of an actor network theory, where every can become an agent, an active agent, then memes become active just as much as users do, or the software that users use. And in terms of object-oriented, I was especially interested by the notion of objects as being everything: a piece of nut, an a plastic jar, a water bottle, sunglasses, persons, ideas, everything existing in a flat plane, and everything that can be remixed as source material everywhere, like America would put it. And in a remix that happens every day, like Kaplan would put it, just by virtue with our constant notifications and constantly posting new content online. And from glitch studies, I was really interested in pushing technology and media beyond its intent, and in order to understand it beyond the surface, just on top. And so as I did that, I began to understand instances of by itself, but really as this confluence of actants that are working all together in order to communicate a specific message and to be read by people that understand this message. And so in a image macro like this one, actants as varied and diverse as a decade, a TV character, a movie, the VHS video cassette that the previous customer didn't rewind, working together within this meme. Did that all come through clearly?
Pretty much, yeah.
So how did I do that? The research happened phases, and this is what I was talking about, the shifting that occurred within myself as a researcher. Phase one, I was a researcher as a student, as a doctoral student in art and visual culture education. And as a student, I began using the language of internet memes in order to respond to readings and assignments that happened within the class, in different classes that I was taking. And so the first work that I did for this is a series of animated GIFs called Art, Crit, and GIFs, which deal with contemporary art and create mashups of at least generally 2 pieces of contemporary art. Restate all the time. For example, this is the work of León Golub and Regina José Galindo to create a narrative of sorts between interrogation and confession. And also, while at the same time making some sort of statement about every state all the time, of course, to very Foucaultian views of the state as necessarily punitive. But also, I was actually kind of interested also in had passed between one piece and the other, and just how little movement had been in the understanding of the state between 1981 and 2007. And the idea behind this, can you see the tweet here?
Yes.
Okay, so the idea behind these GIFs was to create learning objects of sort that could be sent out into the digital wild, and using hashtags on Twitter, trying to find appropriate audiences that would be maybe interested in finding out a bit more about both León Golub and Regina José Galindo, and about the role of the state in so-called practices, which were also popular in the late 2000s. Another piece of work that I did along these lines during phase one is a website called Literacy of the Glitch. And Literacy of the Glitch is a website entirely composed of animated GIFs that uses 7 glitch portraits in order to create something akin to a lesson plan about the potential of glitch, not only in terms of aesthetics, but also in terms of an agent of inquiry into technology that is being pushed beyond its intended purposes. Along with the glitch portraits, there was, and this site is still live online, that can be viewed at any time. And this poetry also work as links, linking together the different portraits. And also, another important element of the site.
We just lost you.
Did you lose sound or did you lose
The
image?
image is doing nothing and we had absolutely no sound.
We can see
Can
the
you hear
text.
me now?
Yes. We can't see
Can you
the
hear me
inside.
now?
Oh, yeah, the image
Yes,
is
it's
sort
there
of
now.
back.
It's back.
But we don't hear you
Me?
now.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So how far back should I go?
Just to this part about the
Literacy of the glitch.
yeah, literacy of the glitch.
Okay, so Literacy of the Glitch is a website composed of 7 glitch portraits. Each portrait addresses a specific element of the glitch that can be used as a creative agent of inquiry into faulty technology and trying to understand the agenda and underlying frameworks behind it. And Literacy of the Glitch also uses a blog. Once people would click a piece of each glitch portrait, users were taken a blog component where the portrait itself was deconstructed and the story behind it kind of told where the source material came from, how the way it looked. And so beyond just kind of the poetic natures that completed, quote unquote, this lesson plan, would also get an idea of a very simple technique of how to create glitch content. And this is a simple technique called the word pattern, where you just replace certain elements of the alphanumeric code of the images in order to glitch them. The final exercise that I did in this case is a visual essay called Internet Memes. What if we're not just gags and we're actually meaningful visual culture artifacts? That's a long title. And this essay is composed entirely of image macros, all of them speaking and acting the way they're supposed to speak and act according to internet culture lore. And and besides the image macros, there was bursts of quotes or samples of relevant literature. And really what I was trying to do here is to kind of disappear behind this stream of all the people that had something to do with making baffled dog sound the way that baffled dog is made to sound. It's still there was a major shortcoming in this, and that was that even in the visual essay, the meme collectives were only there as a reference and not really engaged actively. And the other parts, the other two pieces, really all they did was kind of appropriate certain forms and certain ideas from internet memes, but really didn't do anything mimetic per se. It was just a form-based exploration. And so I shifted my perspective from a student and a creator to a facilitator. And as a facilitator, I came up with a workshop as part of a summer art camp geared for students, learners of between 6 and 13 years of age that happened in Tubac, Arizona. And I'd like to think of this workshop as a bit of a hybrid workshop because it had both a real life, IRL means in real life, both a real life presence and an online presence. In real life, learners would be cycling in and out from different workshops taking place in the summer camp. And then online, when they came into Studio Meme, they would actually become one of these personas. These were false accounts that were created, false Google accounts that were created with fake information, so that no learner had to share their information. And this is just my long name broken up into 5 different pieces. And so once they became, and this was this happened in Google Plus, which is a social media, actually social media network that we're using right now to broadcast this. And I created a private circle where only myself and these 5 accounts communicated and shared content with each other. And so I started working with 3 different groups of learners through 3 different curricula, starting from as young as 6 years of age. And of course, with them, I use very visual meme types. Starting off with emoji stories. Emoji stories, as the name suggests, they just use emojis, which emojis are these tiny images to tell stories. Sometimes as simple as just a phrase, the title of a movie. This is an iron and a man, so that's Iron Man. Or something as complex as the entire plot of a movie. This is supposed to be the plot of Beauty and the Beast. Am I okay still?
Good.
Okay. And so once I shared with them a bunch of these emoji stories through albums that I would read, quote unquote, read with them and try to find out what they got from it. And then when it came time for them to write their own stories, this is the type of content of emoji stories that they wrote. Emoji stories filled with nouns and not a lot of verbs. And just important here is that not once did I tell them whether or not they were doing a good job of it. I never expressed myself as there was a correct way or an incorrect way of making emoji stories or any other type of meme type for that matter. I was just that they got across what they wanted to get across. And once the emoji stories were written, they would share them. They wrote them using a chat window. And then the emoji stories were shared in the circle, in the private circle that was created. And this was true for everything else that was created in Meme Studio. Everything was shared for everyone to watch, to read and engage. Next, with the kids, with the young kids, I use the separated at birth memes, which is also highly visual in nature. Basically just taking 2 people or 2 objects that look alike and claiming them to be twins that were separated at birth. But in order for them to write their own memes, I actually gave them a camera and had them look for long lost twins in the summer camp. And of course, quote unquote, long lost twins. And most of them ended up doing their own separate workshops, which was an interesting sense of self-identification with them on image macros and image macro characters. And I shared with them a bunch of image macro characters, carefully selected so as they were age appropriate, image macros that were out there and not image macros that I would create specifically for them. When it came time for them to make their own image macros, this is the type of content that they created. When I provided blank templates of image macros, they followed the image macro rules for the most part, of top and bottom captions, and try to stay within character, not because I told them to do so, just because that's the way they reacted to it. However, when they were giving cameras to create their own image macros from their surrounding environment, something interesting happened in that it was more done for kind of book scraping purposes, kind of mementos. They started creating more memento-like. Next with them, I also work on perception memes, or what people think I do memes. And this is just a way to look at different occupations and the way that they are perceived. And once again, when it came time for them to write their own, with content that they found online, this was content that they searched for when I asked them to do a perception meme on their favorite characters, they kind of stayed within the same per se. But when they were giving cameras to create their own, then again, the book scrap kind of memento type of photograph and memes took over. And it was more a matter of what was happening in the summer camp, as opposed to creating a strictly speaking perception meme. Next off, with the older crowd, the 11 to 13-year-olds, and these kids I actually had for 2 weeks, just because of the way that the summer camp was broken up and organized. a group of kids would be in the same class 2 weeks. So I got them at the beginning of it and then at the end of it. I began by asking a question, are internet memes art? And by looking at a video that asks that same question and claims that they could be art. And this is the type of responses that they did. Not very interesting, really, but really, I gave them